What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Or should I say, welcome. It's very nice to see you here. We got my first video here today. We'll just talk about the Bengals offseason moves, starting with the cuts. As we all know, the Bengals have quite a big offseason ahead of them. So getting started with Sheldon Rankins, which allowed the Bengals to get their higher cap number that we see here, $62 million. But to give you guys an idea of what Sheldon Rankins did for the Bengals yesterday, not yesterday, for what Sheldon Rankins did for the Bengals last year, you can see here he just was not able to stay on the field. And it was the reports came out before every game that it was a non-football related injury or illness, sorry. But yeah, even regardless, even through all that, he did not seem to perform to the expectations of which what Bengals fans expected, and I think even what the Bengals organization themselves expected. When you let go of players like DJ Reader, which is a force in your defense, and DJ Reader was not always on the field, but whenever DJ Reader had a chance to be on the field, best believe that he made an impact, which mattered to a lot of folks. But when you let go of players like DJ Reader and you bring in different talent over the little ticky-tacky contract stuff, everything. So it doesn't necessarily always work out in your favor. And in this case, it just clearly didn't work out in the Bengals' favor as they just weren't able to maximize what his time there. So he, unfortunately, I believe, had to just be a cap casualty. They had to cut him. It was unsustainable as it was a non-football illness, and he just never saw the field. He couldn't get back on the field the second half of the season, which is really unfortunate. Um, I think another cut candidate is the famous and fame and acclaimed Germaine Pratt. Germaine requested a trade a few days ago, or a few weeks ago, sorry, I should say. Germaine was drafted by the Bengals and performed actually quite well over his years with the Bengals. But I think since his contract year, there was kind of a debate that he hasn't been as sharp, hasn't been the quickest off the ball linebacker to make the plays. And I can't say that I disagree with all these things as he struggled with missed tackles, often trying to punch the ball out, putting the team at a disadvantage because, you trap hold the guy, you're trying to just take the ball out, and while you're trying to take the ball out, he's gonna get a few extra yards, and that seems to be his situation. And unfortunately, that bit him in the butt last year with an 11% missed tackle rate, which was just ugh, unbelievable. But yeah, I personally don't think the Bengals will be able to get very much for Jermaine. I mean, he's still a solid player, but I don't think many teams would want him to just come in on his current contract, which is not very expensive, but it would have to be a team that is familiar with him, and the only team that would be in that case is the Colts because of the familiarity with Luanarumo. But yeah, I don't think the Bengals could get anything more than a fifth, a sixth for him, but that even has to be seen. So Sheldon Rankins, Germaine Pratt, two cut candidates. We'll just get those out the way. Save the Bengals a few dollars. Germaine Pratt would save the Bengals a whopping 5 mil, which I think the Bengals would be okay with. They're they're trying to re-sign the big three, or I'd say the big four, but Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, and T. Higgins all need an extension, and they'll take every dollar they can get. I don't think there's a reason why they wouldn't take every dollar they can get. So the next candidate, which is extremely unfortunate because he is the Cincinnati kid. He's made incredible plays on the Bengals field, but Sam Hubbard unfortunately has just not been who he used to be. And I think he's getting older. He's not as sharp as he once was. Once again, same thing with Germaine Pratt, where the Bengals rode the wave and gave him to, based I believe on their history, let him go as far as long as he can. But unless he's willing to take quite the restructure, which I'm unsure if he would, and go on some sort of a vet minimum deal here, I think this might be the end of Sam Hubbard, the Cincinnati kid, and his time at Cincinnati. It's it's unfortunate because Sam was one of the players that I vividly remember watching when I first got into the Bengals, as his energy, his presence was very noticeable. But I don't think many Bengals fans over the past few years can't say that they haven't noticed his presence diminished, which is unfortunate. Which is unfortunate. He's been a great player for us. Um, and the one and last cut candidate that I can't currently think of would be the Alex Kappa, the Triple Crown winner in pressures, sacks given, and pressures allowed, all that good stuff for an offensive lineman. He was not able to do it. And unfortunately, right now I'm on Pro Football Reference, but Alex Kappa brought in in 2022, I believe, if I'm yeah, 2022, after the Cincinnati Bengals were during their Super Bowl run, it was obvious during the Super Bowl run that they needed some sort of help on the offensive line because made it to the bowl with arguably the worst line, not even arguably, the worst line in the league that year. Joe Burrow got sacked a bunch of times in the Tennessee Titans game, still made it to the Super Bowl, and unfortunately, the play that's killed it for us was the offensive line. And somehow, some way, 3 years later, you could say that the offensive line is still the Achilles heels of the Bengals, excluding the defense, which I'm not talking about right now. We'll eventually have to get into the defense, but yeah, Alex Kappa was not able to play to the standard to which they brought him in for, which is unfortunate because I think when they brought him in, they weren't expecting him to be Quentin Nelson or a future Hall of Famer, but they expected him to at least be a solid offensive lineman that could hold down the forts and give it a fair shot, and he wasn't able to do that. So that's just where I'm at right now. Here are the few Bengals cut candidates. Let me know what you think, whether I'm crazy, whether I'm not crazy. Yeah, man, first video. Drop a few comments down below. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you guys next time. It was nice seeing you here.